I didn't see him. What are you looking so sad about, Jack?
I'm surprised at you. I mean, I'm really insulted. I mean, that's not right what you just said.
What do you mean? What I just said?
I mean, I'm getting drink of water. I'm late getting home, but you talk. I said something about the greatest heavyweight champ, man. I'm a hometown man, and you talk about Joe Louis, man. Joe Louis wouldn't be nothing for me. Joe, I tell you, Joe, do you think you would have stood a chance with me?
Well, Clay, one time during my career, I was on a bum of money tour.
I would have been a bum compared to you.
What's happening, my people? It's Cass Sports again, back for another afternoon with the family. That's right. You know what time it is. If it's Monday through Friday, 2 p.m., it's the Boxtorian, bringing you all that boxing history. Boxing is the greatest sport of them all. That's why we love it. Can't get enough of it. Miss Cass, Mike, Rem, salute to everyone and welcome to another episode of Cass Sports, the Boxtorian. Today, boxers from the 1940s, not named Lewis or Robinson. Boxers from the 1940s, not named Lewis or Robinson. How's the family today? It's hump day. Getting closer to Hitchens and Cambosos. I think Hitchens will get a pretty wide decision. Hitchens ain't knocking nothing out, okay? So yeah, it'll probably be a decision. Pretty comfortable decision. Yeah, today we're going to talk about some of the 1940s boxing. But we're not going to talk about Joe Louis or Sugar Ray Robinson, because usually when you're talking about the 40s, 50s, around in there, Joe Louis and Sugar Ray Robinson usually dominate the conversation. But there were plenty of other great fighters back there in that era, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Boxers from the 1940s, not named Louis or Robinson. There's two right there on the screen. That's Ike Williams and Bob Montgomery. Okay, Ike Williams, this Ike on the right, Bob Montgomery on the left. They had a series of great fights. Those two and Bojack, had a back in like the 40s lightweight division. You like old fights, pull up any combination of those three. Those two on the screen, Ike Williams, Bob Montgomery, and Bojack had a series of great fights. And we're going to talk about the first one in the Ike Williams and Bob Montgomery series today. Okay? But first, for the highlights of boxing history today, told you we're going through all the divisions and we're going to list the top 10 greatest of all time from every division. Started with heavyweight yesterday. Today is going to be cruiserweight. Top 10 all-time greatest at cruiserweight. And once we go through all 17, we're going to go back to heavyweight. And then we're going to do the top 10 currently active fighters from every division. So we're going to be at this for a minute. I like those long series. Like the boxing in the States. Ends next week, we just got Wisconsin and Wyoming. I can't think of any more. We'd have been through all of them. Started like this time last year. Remember? Hope everybody learned some things. I did. But, for today, the boxing the highlights of boxing history is going to be top 10 all time from the cruiserweight division. So now, without further ado, highlights of boxing history. Told you that studio audience like the highlights of boxing history. They're out in the backyard watching it on the big screen out back there. Okay. All right, let's get started. Highlights of boxing history. Top 10 fighters from the cruiserweight division today. We're going to go all the way through the alphabet. Well, not the alphabet. I mean the weight classes. Started at heavyweight yesterday, all the way down to 105, minimum weight. Cruiserweight today. Now, top 10 all-time cruiserweights. That's number one right there. But that's number one right there. But first, now, the retirement announcement from former three-time cruiserweight champion Maurice Breedis inspired a few boxing articles that attempt to break down the 10 greatest fighters from the division. Now, there have for sure been some special fighters boxing at cruiserweight over the years, over the decades, and the division. Very much a far from accepted or exciting one as far as fan opinion was concerned back when the weight class first materialized around 1979. It's now firmly established. It's no longer a mere stepping off place for light heavyweights who are moving on to the heavyweight division. Remember, it used to be just a pit stop for light heavyweights on the way to heavyweight, but now it's an established division. Okay, the 200-pound division is actually a fun division with plenty of great fights having taken place there. So who are the 10 greatest cruiserweights in boxing histories? Let's take a stab at it, okay? Number one, the real deal, Evander Holyfield. You might see some of these fighters in two divisions, like Evander was in the top 10 at heavyweight yesterday, okay? So you might see a few as we go through this over the coming weeks in a couple different divisions like Evander. Top 10 heavyweight and cruiserweight as far as I'm concerned. Definitely number one at cruiserweight. Who else could it be? But Evander, right? Now, Evander Holyfield, he's a four-time heavyweight champion of the world. His career spanned from 1984 to 2011. In the late 1980s, he was the undisputed cruiserweight champion. He is known for defeating boxing greats like Mike Tyson, Larry Holmes, and Big George Foreman. He earned an Olympic berth in the light heavyweight division, but he was disqualified for hitting late and awarded the bronze medal. But he got robbed. Okay, simply was robbed. Evander was. Okay, but he comes in at number one at cruiserweight. And for so many fans, he's the undisputed king of the division. with nothing to ever change this. He's been it for a while and probably going to be for a while to come. Okay. Number 2 at cruiserweight, Alexander Usyk. Yeah, Riddick Bowe. I forgot Riddick Bowe, Mike. I sure didn't say Riddick Bowe, but yeah, and Riddick Bowe. Can't forget Riddick. 3 great. That's one of the big trilogies of all time. 3 great fights, except for the Fan Man came in there in number 2 and messed everything up. I thought Riddick would have swept Evander, but Evander got that second one solely because of Fan Man. Remember that, Mike? Fan Man swooped down in there, but Fan Man got the worst beating of the night because he fell when they pulled him out of the ring. He fell right into the laps of Riddick Bowe's entourage, and they put a beating on him. But number 2, Alexander Usyk. Okay. Now Usyk, currently the undisputed heavyweight champion, holding the unified title since he's been a unified champion since 2021 and been undisputed since last year, right? And he had the Ring Magazine title since 2022. Now he's also a former undisputed cruiserweight champion. In 2012, Olympic gold medalist. He's the first undisputed heavyweight champion in 24 years and the first 4-belt undisputed at heavyweight, joining the ranks of fighters who've held every major heavyweight world championship belt. Okay? Alexander Usyk. And with the peak cruiserweight version of Holyfield had beaten Usyk, this dream fight now features quite highly in fight fans' thoughts. I would have had to pick Holyfield in that one, but that would have been a doozy. Yeah. And they both were undisputed at cruiserweight and went to heavyweight. Number 3, Dwight Muhammad Quawi comes in at number 3, greatest cruiserweights of all time. Yeah, Dwight comes in at number 3 today. Yeah, Dwight was a pretty good light heavyweight too. I think he had a few fights at heavyweight, not that much notice at heavyweight, but I think he did go there. Now, Dwight Muhammad Quawi, previously known as Dwight Baxter, he competed from 1978 to 1998, 20-year career. He was a 2-weight world champion, holding the WBC and Ring Magazine heavyweight titles. Wow, and light heavyweight titles. No, he wasn't a champion at heavyweight. WBC and Ring light heavyweight titles from 1981 to 1983, and the WBA cruiserweight title from 1985 to 1986. Now, in the early to mid 1980s, Quawi was a major force in the light heavyweight division. Okay, and he was a relentless, cunningly defensive buzzsaw. They called him the Captain Buzzsaw. That was his nickname. He was a warrior in there. He played his part in the single greatest fight in the division's history. His dance partner is the guy at the top of the list, Evander Holyfield. Yeah, that was a big one. Dwight and Evander. Coming in at number 4, greatest cruiserweights of all time, David Haye. David Haye. Hey, David. BBO Sports TV in the building. What do you think about this list, BBO? These are the top 10 cruiserweights of all time, my friend. Every day, 2 to 2:30, we are doing the top 10 of every division. Heavyweight yesterday, cruiserweight today, we going on down, BBO. Let's salute BBO Sports TV from the Sports Talk Network. That's the creator of the Sports Talk Network right there. BBO Sports TV, salute. Number 4, David Haye. Talking about the top cruiserweights of all time. David Haye comes in at number 4. I know BBO got something to say. BBO always got something to say. Okay. Now, David Deron Haye, he competed from 2002 to 2018. He was nicknamed the Haymaker. He won multiple world championships in both cruiserweight and heavyweight. He was the first British boxer to reach the World Amateur Boxing Championships final, winning a silver medal in 2001. And the Haymaker was known for his quick, powerful punches and combinations. He was a UK favorite and the Ring Magazine's champion. He retired from boxing in 2018. And we tend to forget how special the Haymaker was down at cruiserweight. Ring Magazine ranks Hay as the greatest cruiserweight of the decade, 2000 to 2010. Yeah. Maurice Breedis, he just retired last year, didn't he? He comes in at number 5. Maurice Breedis. Yeah. Yeah. Number 5, Maurice Breedis. Top 10 cruiserweights of all times. Let's talk about Maurice right quick. Now, come on, Maurice. Oh, it's got to be somebody. Now, Maurice is a Latvian former boxer, right? Competed from 2009 to 2024, retired last year. Now, Maurice was a 3-time cruiserweight world champion. He had the IBF and ring titles from 2020 to 2022. He had the WBC title from 2017 to 2018 and the WBO title in 2019. And he never stopped. As nasty as he was tough and talented, Breedis has to make the cut here. Not too many guys enjoyed 3 reigns in the same weight class. Yeah, Breedis was nasty. Never stopped in his career. Whereas Breedis. Coming in at number 6, this one of those guys is going to make 2 different classes. Like I said, like Holyfield made heavyweight yesterday and cruiserweight. This guy, next guy, going to make a couple of them too. James, lights out, Tony. Lights out. Okay. Makes the top 10 at cruiserweight, and it's going to be at super middleweight, something like that. We'll see. Let's focus on cruiserweight. Cass, okay? Don't get ahead of yourself there. James Lights Out Tony comes in at number 6, all-time cruiserweights. Right? Now, Lights Out competed from 1988 to 2017. He won multiple world championships across 3 weight classes, including he had the cruiserweight title in 2003 and the super middleweight title, okay, in that same year. Now, Tony has defeated fellow Hall of Famers Evander Holyfield and Mike McCallum. As a matter of fact, Lights Out was the only one to defeat Holyfield at cruiserweight. Holyfield had 1 loss at cruiserweight, and the man on the screen is the one that gave it to him, James Lights Out Tony. He beat the Body Snatcher also. In 2022, Lights Out was inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame. Tony is known for his natural punching ability, okay, and that shoulder roll defense. And he would feature higher had he stuck around for significantly longer than just a few fights at the weight. As it is, Tony bested a fine fighter in Vasily Giroud. This is what ranks for many as the second greatest fight in cruiserweight history. First one was Holyfield and Qualby. The second one was Tony and Giroud. That was a barn burner. And coming in at number 7 is Vasily Giroud, top 10 cruiserweights of all time. Number 7, Vasily Giroud. We wind it down, then we're going to get on into the top. We're going to get into some fighters from the 40s not named Joe Louis or Sugar Ray Robinson. But Vasily Giroud comes in at number 7, top 10 cruiserweights of all time. Okay. Vasily Giroud, not Lomachenko. Okay, there we go. Vasily Giroud. Now, Vasily, sometimes known as Vasily Zirov, from Kazakhstan, former pro boxer. He competed from 1997 to 2009. He had the IBF cruiserweight title from 1999 to 2003, 4-year reign. And he's another non-stop puncher who possessed awesome stamina along with toughness and grit. Giroud is unfairly best known for his close, not only the official cards, but in the many opinion of most fans, war with Tony. Right, he's most known for that. Second best fight in cruiserweight history. It's got 3 more. Coming in at number 8, top cruiserweights of all time, Johnny Nelson. Johnny Nelson of the Zone announcer fame now. That Johnny Nelson. Yeah. Pretty good fighter too. Johnny was. Yeah, Johnny comes in at number 8, top cruiserweights of all time. Known as the Entertainer, right? He's a former cruiserweight champion and motivational speaker and commentator on the Zone. His career lasted almost 20 years from 1986 to 2005. That's Johnny on the left, facing us, of course. He is boxing's longest reigning cruiserweight champion. And he also won the British cruiserweight title twice, between 1989 and 1997, and the European cruiserweight title twice. Johnny won 45 of his 59 fights, with 29 by way of knockout. Okay? And too boring for some, Nelson was nevertheless a fine boxer with immense skill. And Nelson held on to the WBO title for quite some time. Number 9. John Mark Mormack. That's John Mark on the right. Looking older than me, but he was still in there competing, getting it in. Yeah, John was still in there getting it in. Thomas Hill in the building. What's up, T. Hill? Cruiserweight today. Highlights of boxing history. We're going to go through every division for the foreseeable future and do the top 10 from every division, from heavyweight to minimum weight, 105. And then we're going to come back to heavyweight, and we're going to do the top 10 actives all the way through. So we're going to be at it for a minute. But salute Thomas Hill, T. Hill in the building. Okay? We're going to drop the link later. T. Hill runs the panel because I don't know when to stop. That's up to me. We'll be still on the panel talking until like 8 o'clock tonight when BVO come on. But T. Hill always says, Cass, it's time to stop. So I let T. Hill handle the panel. Okay, we're going to get some link time, about 3:30ish. But yeah, John Mark Mormack comes in at number 9. Only got 2 more to go. Then we're going to get into some of these great boxers from the 40s, not named Joe Louis or Sugar Ray Robinson. Because when you're talking about 40s, 50s, they normally dominate the conversation. But we're going to talk about some other great fighters today because there was plenty of them back in that era. Now, John Mark Gilbert Mormack, French fighter, right? He competed from 1995 to 2014. That's 20 years. 2-time unified world cruiserweight champion. He had the WBA, WBC, and ring world titles twice between 2005 and 2007. And John Mark was a superb fighter who could box and brawl. Okay, had skills that he could get inside in the closet and mix it up. Right? What do you call it? In the pocket. I said the closet. He could mix it up inside in the pocket. Closet, phone booth, you know. Yeah, and he could box, had skills. He was a Frenchman. He gave us something truly special when he rumbled with O'Neal Bell, even though he lost. Mormack showing his quality in avenging the defeat later. And O'Neal Bell almost made it, but number 10, I couldn't leave Carlos de Leon off. Couldn't leave Carlos off. Carlos comes in at 10. Okay. Carlos comes at 10. Yeah. Mike Wim says, thank you day by day. Appreciate you, Mike Wim. Thank you for all your support. Y'all kept me going, man. Every T. Hill and DVO and Mike Wim and Mike Mazzy kept coming back every day. I was like, damn, I must be doing something. So this is, matter of fact, today is my 429th show. 429th show. Going on 500. Okay. Mike Wim been in 420 some of them. Can't make it every day. I didn't even make it every day. I didn't miss some days. So, you know, I excuse you for missing 2 or 3 days, Mike, but that's enough. Okay, but salute, Mike, man. We appreciate you 1,000%. Now, the last one is number 10 is Carlos de Leon, right? That's Carlos right there. Let's get him up here, and then we're going to get to these other great fighters from the 40s, not named Joe Louis or Sugar Ray Robinson. There's plenty of them. Ike Williams, Bo Mac, Bob Montgomery, Rocky Graciano, Tony Zell. Plenty of them. We're going to talk about them in a minute. That's all I can think of off the top of my head. But there's a whole bunch of them. Carlos de Leon was Puerto Rican cruiserweight. Now, he was also known as Sugar. Carlos Sugar de Leon, Puerto Rican boxer. He made history by becoming the first cruiserweight to win the world title twice. Subsequently, he kept breaking his own record for the most times as cruiserweight champion by regaining the title on 2 further occasions, making it 4 altogether. 4-time ruler at cruiserweight. So he was cuter than cute. Damn. And he has some genuine longevity. I shouldn't even have read that. Damn. Hence those 4 spells as a champion. Okay, Carlos de Leon, cuter than cute. That's what the thing said. Okay, but let's move on. They call him Sugar. Okay, let's get that the hell out. Get off of my screen, Mr. Cute. Okay, so today, boxers from the 1940s, not named Joe Louis or Sugar Ray Robinson. Okay. Let's get into that. All right. Yeah, not named Joe Louis. There's plenty of them. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of them today. But as everybody, we got Richardson Hitchens and George Kambosos, Andy Cruz on the card. I got Richardson by decision because Richardson ain't knocking nothing out. That's just a fact. Yeah, he ain't knocking nothing out. But I think he'll outpoint George, and it won't be that hard neither. I ain't gonna say easy because ain't nothing easy when you're in there got a grown man swinging at your head. But it ain't gonna be that difficult, you know. I got Richardson by. Now, I can't get the chat. What in the world is going on, man? I gotta be able to see the chat. Bear with me. Damn. Always something. Okay, but yeah, and Andy Cruz on the card too. There it is. Okay, good. Got it. Al Booger in the building. See, I gotta get the chat. See people like Al Booger coming in. I can't miss that. Al Booger is a member of Cass and Friends. We got Cass and Friends. Put it in the chat club, and we got the Boxtorian Society. Feel free to join and super chat. Cash App, or just hit the like. I'm happy with that. Just being here, supporting and hit the like is good. I'm good, you know. Appreciate y'all 1,000%. Okay, let's get into the boxers from the 1940s, not named Joe Louis or Sugar Ray Robinson, but salute Al Booger. Yeah, and I'm trying to get some t-shirts together for my members. For my member. I only got one. I had Mr. Hot Grease, but then I got demonetized back a while. And the members got wiped out. And then when I got back remonetized, Mr. Hot Grease, they never came. I haven't seen him in here since then. I seen him in Jay's chat. But yeah, Al Booger, I'm going to holler at you. Get your t-shirt size because you're going to get a Cash Sport t-shirt pretty soon. Just for members only. Okay. I only got to get 3 of them. Me, Miss Cass, and Al Booger. Okay, let's go with today's show. Boxers from the 1940s, not named Joe Louis or Sugar Ray Robinson. Got the chat up. Yeah, Al Thomas Hill says, Al Booger, the professor. Prototype. All that. But how's everybody today? It's hump day. We hit it on downhill. Do we have any fights Friday this week? I know we had fights from like Thursday to Monday last week. Yeah, last week was a big weekend for boxing fans. We had the big one from Japan, Nakatani. I want him in the Monster so bad. Either Nakatani and Monster or Bam, Nakatani, Bam, Monster. Any combination of those 3, I'm happy. Okay, let's go. Now, several fighters from the 1930s and 1940s exhibited styles and elite talents that could translate into success in today's boxing landscape. So that's what we're going to look at first. Some of the boxers that had skills and the type of talents that could fit into today's game, right? We're going to look at that first, okay? Okay, so the first one we're going to talk about is going to be Homicide Hank. Henry Armstrong, okay? Mr. Homicide, there he is. Now, Homicide Hank was known for his back around that time, 30s, 40s, not named Joe Louis or Sugar Ray Robinson. Known for his relentless pressure and exceptional stamina. Armstrong was a 3-weight world champion, featherweight, welterweight, and lightweight simultaneously. His aggressive style, ability to throw an astonishing number of punches, and toughness would be highly effective in modern boxing. Aaron Pryor was the reincarnation of Homicide Hank. Man, I could not imagine Aaron Pryor and Henry Armstrong in their prime fighting. Wow. Man, you wouldn't even be able to see what was going on. They would be throwing so many punches from different angles. I mean, they fought just alike. Anybody ever watch tape of Henry Armstrong? Could you imagine him and Aaron Pryor in a fight? I wouldn't want to be the referee for that one. You would have punches coming from both sides, from every angle, up, down, everywhere. Them two, because Aaron Pryor was the reincarnation of Henry Armstrong, man. Yes, he was. That would be wow. I'm glad they wasn't in the same era. I couldn't take that fight between them two. That would really be something. Okay, next one that could fit into today is Benny Leonard, the great Benny Leonard. There's Benny. Now, Benny Leonard was a brilliant technician with excellent footwork and head movement, making him a master of defense and counterpunching. And his ability to adapt and outthink opponents would translate well in today's more tactical fighting environment than it was back then. Yeah, that would be a big plus for Benny. His ability to adapt and his ring IQ he had a serious ring IQ. I went back a little ways. I couldn't leave the old master out. Joe Gans, but he was close to that era. The old master, Joe Gans. Now, Gans was known for his boxing IQ, speed, and the ability to switch styles mid-fight. You know, you'd be fighting somebody for the first 6 rounds, then all of a sudden you think of a different fighter than came in. The old master would switch up totally on you. He was one of the first Black American boxing champions and a pioneer of modern boxing techniques. He was the first Black American. First Black fighter was George Lynch. He was Canadian. Yeah, Joe Lynch was the first, but he was at lightweight. Jack Johnson was the first heavyweight to have that distinction. Okay? And Joe, the old master, was known for his strategic approach and versatility. That would be invaluable in today's sport, where adaptability is a big key in today's boxing. Okay? And Max Melling would fit in well today. Max Melling fought back in the 30s and 40s. Now, Max was a heavyweight champion known for his powerful right hand and calculated fighting style. Smelling was both an aggressive and defensive fighter. And Smelling's ability to set traps and counter-punch effectively would resonate well in today's heavyweight division. And this man, the Will of the Wisp, could fight in any era. Willie Pep, he could fight in any era. Okay? Willie Pep was a master of movement and defense, often outmaneuvering opponents with his footwork and quick jabs. His elusive style and ability to score points without taking damage would be highly effective in today's emphasis on defensive boxing. Okay? And Sugar Ray Seals, very underrated fighter. Very underrated fighter. You don't hear too much about Sugar Ray. That's him on the left. Very underrated. Sugar Ray Seals was an exceptionally skilled fighter. He combined speed, power, and an ability to adapt his style to counter his opponents. Sugar Ray Seals' versatility and technical prowess would make him a formidable competitor in any era, including this one, and the great Fritzy Zivik. That's Fritzy on the right. Cam J Network. What's up, Cam J? Appreciate you. Cam J Network, 6:30 this evening. Okay? Fire your channel. I just subscribed yesterday. You ain't doing nothing around 6:30 this evening. Check him out. That's where I'm going to be at. Like I told him this time on Crush, that is an excellent time frame, 6:30. For me, yeah. But salute Cam J. I'll be hollering at you at 6:30. But we are talking about fighters from the era of the 30s and 40s, not named Joe Louis or Sugar Ray Robinson. Fritzy Zivic. Now, he was known for his toughness and willingness to engage in brawls. He was also a skilled tactician. He could brawl or box. And he could also outbox opponents when it was necessary, right? Or brawl. His ability to mix styles and maintain resilience would serve him well in today's era. Now, these fighters demonstrated skills and attributes such as adaptability, technique, and stamina that are highly valued in today's boxing, suggesting that they could have had dominant careers in today's sport. Yes, they could have. Now, let's do this. Let's see which modern fighters exhibit similar traits to these fighters we were just talking about. Let's look at some fighters that's fighting right now that's similar to these fighters. Okay, let's do that. Okay, let's do that. What modern fighters are similar to these fighters we just discussed? Go ahead, y'all ask. Okay. First, no. Canelo. Oh my goodness. Well, wait. Yeah, Canelo. Canelo Alvarez. Now, similar to Joe Louis from back then. Okay. And we're not talking about Joe Louis and Sugar Ray Robinson. That's why he wasn't included on that. But Canelo would be similar to Joe Louis in the way that, let me explain. Canelo's combination of power, precision, and ability to cut off the ring mirrors Joe Louis's effective fighting style. Okay? Vasily Lomachenko. Who would he be similar to from back then? Lomachenko. Similar to Willie Pep. Now, Lomachenko's footwork, head movement, and defensive skills showcase a modern interpretation of Willie Pep's elusive style. Earl Spence Jr. Okay? Similar to Homicide Hank. In a way, let me explain. Now, Earl's relentless pressure, stamina, and body. You know, he don't come at it like Homicide Hank. Homicide Hank was just non-stop. But Earl's similar with the pressure. Now, Spence's relentless pressure, stamina, and body punching reflect Homicide Hank's aggressive and high-volume approach. Okay? The Bronx Bomber, Deontay Wilder. Similar to Max Schmeling from back then. Now, Wilder's knockout power and ability to set traps for opponents echoes Schmeling's calculated fighting style. And we talking about today's boxer. I can't leave him off, man. Y'all know who I'm talking about. I got to find somebody to match him up with from back then. Gervonta Davis. Similar to Sugar Ray Seals, okay? Now, Tanks combines speed, power, and a versatile fighting style, making him a dynamic threat in the ring. Yeah, similar to Sugar Ray Seals. Oh. Shakur Stevenson. Similar to the old master, Joe Gans. I don't have no picture for Shakur, but y'all know what Shakur looks like. Similar to the old master, Joe Gans. Now, Shakur's defensive skills, ring IQ, and ability to adapt to different fighting styles highlight the old master's strategic approach. Now, these modern fighters embody the qualities that made their legendary predecessors successful, showcasing the evolution of boxing while retaining timeless skills. Showcasing evolution, but retaining timeless skills. Appreciate you, Cam J. 1000%. Yeah, we had the knowledgeable boxing fans over here, Cam J. You fit right in. Right in. Okay. Now let's do this. Okay. Let's look at how did these fighters influence the styles of future generations? Let's look at that. Okay, then we're gonna move on for these people. So let's look at that. How did they influence the styles of future generations? Okay, we're gonna go back through each one of them, starting with Homicide Hank, Henry Armstrong. Okay, I don't know how he got way down there, but there's Homicide Hank right there. Okay, now notable achievement for Homicide Hank. Now here's some notable. Well, we're gonna look at some notable fights and achievements for these fighters first. Okay, Henry Armstrong, notable achievement. He was the first fighter to hold 3 world titles simultaneously in different weight classes: featherweight, lightweight, welterweight. In his most famous fight, he defeated Barney Ross in 1938 to win the welterweight title, showcasing his relentless pressure and stamina. Okay, the great Benny Leonard. You know, Benny Leonard he fought like way back there, 20s, 30s, 40s. He had the same trainer as Roberto Duran, Ray Arcel. Ray Arcel was just incredible, man. Ray Arcel, I told you, he had started training in the 1920s, stopped in the 80s. He had at least one champion in every decade in that period, 1920s through 1980s. Some decades he had multiple, but at least one in every decade during that time. Incredible. You talking about greatest trainers of all time. Ray Arcel has to be in the situation, has to be in the conversation. Has to be. But Benny Leonard, notable achievement. Benny Leonard held the lightweight title for several years and was considered one of the best lightweights of all time, between him and Roberto Duran. Famous fight. He defeated Willie Ritchie in 1917 to win the lightweight championship, demonstrating his exceptional boxing skills. The old master, Joe Gans. Notable achievement. He was the first Black American world champion and pioneer in boxing technique. Yeah, he was jumping rope and all that stuff way back then, before people was even thinking about jumping rope as boxers. Joe Gans was, and I think he invented the double end bag. You know, the bag that's tied, connected to the ceiling and the floor. I believe Joe Gans invented that. Now, his famous fight, he defeated Battling Nelson in 1906 in a historic 42-round fight to regain the lightweight title, showcasing his strategic prowess. Now, there's been longer fights than that, but that was the longest title fight on record, 42 rounds. And Joe Gans broke his arm in the 34th round and fought the last 8 rounds with a broken arm. After already having fought 34 rounds, he fought the last 8 with a broken arm. Incredible. Those guys back then was just built different. Max Smelly, notable achievement. Heavyweight champion, known for his 2 fights against Joe Louis. And of course, his famous fight was the one where he beat Joe Louis in 1936. A major upset, demonstrating his tactical skills and power, because Max noticed, he was watching a film of Joe Louis, and he saw that when Joe Louis threw his left jab, on the way bringing it back, he always dropped it low on the way back, and Max Spelling waited for that right moment, and he knocked Joe out from, doing his homework. Joe kept dropping it, always did that. Dropped that, he throw that left jab and he'd bring it back down low, and Max Smelling waited for the right moment and he got Joe up out of there. Yes, he did. That was Joe Louis's only loss for a long time, too. The Will-O-the-Wisp, Willie Pep. Notable achievement. 2-time featherweight champion and widely regarded as one of the greatest defensive boxers ever. And he fought Sandy Sadler in 1948, where he showcased his incredible footwork and boxing IQ. But he did lose the title. And you know, Willie Pepper had a plane crash in the 40s. And the doctor told Willie Pepper, he said, "You're never going to fight again, Willie." And Willie said, "The only thing I'm not going to do again is fly at night." Not only did he fight again, he had significant injuries in that plane crash. But not only did he fight again, he fought 10 more times the same year the plane crash. Told you, them guys back then was just built different. After a plane crash, this man had 10 fights the same year. And Sugar Ray Seals. Okay? Sugar Ray Seals, two-time featherweight champion and widely regarded as one of the greatest defensive boxers. And he fought Sandy Sadler that's Willie Pepper, I'm sorry. Sugar Ray Seals, he won the middleweight title and is known for his adaptability in the ring. In his most famous fight, he defeated the legendary fighter Reuben Hurricane Carter in 1966, demonstrating his skill and strategic thinking. And Fritzy Zivik. Fritzy was a former welterweight champion, known for his toughness and versatility, and he fought and defeated the great Sugar Ray Robinson in 1946, showcasing his ability to mix styles and compete at the highest level. Yeah, he beat Sugar Ray Robinson. These achievements in fights highlight the exceptional talent and skills of these fighters, marking their places in boxing history. Okay, let's move on. Yeah, we're going to talk about some more things that went down back in the 40s. Not involving Joe Louis. Well, maybe somebody that fought them, but we're not going to talk about Joe Louis and Sugar Ray Robinson's careers today. We're talking about some of these other great fighters. And man, let's talk about the 1940s first before we go any further, because I didn't do that. Let's talk about boxing in the 1940s, okay? I suppose it had Ben did that. But how's everybody this hump day? Let's talk fashion this morning. We had... let's talk about boxing in the 40s before we go any further. Like a little background of the decade, okay? So we're going to move on to some more of these fighters. I was supposed to do that right after the highlights of boxing history. It's all good though. Okay, here we go. Boxing in the 1940s. Okay. There we go. I was getting ready to get mad. Okay. Now, boxing in the 1940s in many ways reflected worldwide events that affected other endeavors as well. Now, World War II raged early in the decade, and just like baseballers, many popular boxers went overseas to fight for their countries. Joe Louis, Billy Conn, Bo Jack, and Bob Montgomery among them. Now, Joe Louis was used to entice Americans to join the war effort against Germany. A couple of propaganda movies starring Louis and many propaganda posters were being produced. And the posters in particular are collector's items today. Now, Joe Louis's great rival, Max Schmeling, a lifelong opponent of the Nazi regime, Schmeling was forced by Adolf Hitler to join the German military after his loss to Joe Louis in their 1938 rematch. Schmeling lucky he didn't lose his life, because that's how they carried it over there. Yeah, he forced him to join the army, because Hitler lost a lot of face after Max Schmeling lost to that black man, right? Now, because of the war, many world championship divisions were frozen. Now, sometimes a title fight was held 5 years after the last title fight in that division had been held because of the war. Yeah, 5 years later, titles were all on hold back then, especially the heavyweight title. Now, television was in its infancy in the 1940s, but nonetheless, Brewers were treated to many 10-round non-title fights, and many title challengers became household names under the absence of so many of the stars of that time, right? And the 40s did have some historic world title fights and rivalries. Sugar Ray Robinson and Jake LaMotta began their series of famous fights in the 40s, right? Bojack Bob Montgomery fought 4 times, along with numerous fights against Ike Williams. And Rocky Graciano and Tony Xia starred in what boxing critics have often called one of the fiercest rivalries in boxing history. And we're going to cover that trilogy today, too. Now, the heavyweight division was dominated by Joe Louis, the only man in history to be world champion throughout every year of an entire decade. And remember, I told you, Ricardo Lopez only missed by a couple months because he vacated in 99 to move up. Yeah, Joe Louis won the title in 37 and kept it until 49. Now, Jake LaMotta lost a highly controversial fight to Billy Fox in 1947. And Jake later testified that he threw the fight to earn a title shot under oath before the United States Congress. He was trying to get a world middleweight title shot at Marcel Cerdan. The mob gave him $20,000. It was worth way more back then than it is today. $20,000 and the promise of a title shot if he threw that fight against their fighter, Billy Fox. You can imagine the type of money they had bet on that. And Jake went through with it. But for that testimony, he didn't suffer any negative consequences because Jake lived into his 90s. Jake LaMotta did, yeah. So the mob didn't get him for that. Mike Mazik. Mike Mazik, what's up? Appreciate you. In the building. Here we talking about boxers that competed around the 1940s. I'm gonna say the 1940s because I done said some boxers that competed way back in 1903, 1960, I'm sorry. Around the 1940s, not Lane Lewis or Robinson. So I'll probably say Joe Gans competed like 1902 and Sugar Ray Seals was in the 60s. But it's all good. Right? Forget what you heard, it's all good. Right? Okay, let's go back to what we were doing now. We're going to talk about Ezra Charles. Now, the great Ezra Charles. And just listen to this. This is good. Ezra Charles was amazing, man. He went to World War II. And you know, like Sugar Ray Robinson and Joe Louis, they didn't see combat. They just made them fight in exhibitions and stuff. And they wanted to do that for Ezra Charles, but Ezra Charles said, no, I want to be a regular guy. Ezra Charles fought on the front lines. He didn't have to. He could have did exhibitions and stuff. But he said, no, I want to be like the regular people, the regular guys. I don't want no personal favors. And he went on the front lines and fought during the war. Yes, he did. Quite a man, Ezra Charles, man. Yeah. Isn't that something? I would have been like, give me the exhibitions. I ain't going nowhere near that front line. But Ezra said, no, I don't want no special favors. He had to be crazy, man. But he made it back, you know. And we're going to talk about it. As soon as I get it going. Bear with me for one moment, please. I had my cooler up top and it froze on me. Yeah, here we go. We're going to talk about the great Ezra Charles now. I mean, the great Ezra Charles. There we go. Great fighter. He was really a middleweight, but he went all the way up to heavyweight, won the title, and made 8 successful defenses at heavyweight, Ezra Charles did. A natural middleweight. Let's talk about it. Here we go. It is Ezra and Sugar Ray. No, I wasn't supposed to have been talking about that. I put that up there for a reason. I'll tell you. We'll see in a minute. That's Ezra and Sugar Ray. Sugar Ray on the left, Ezzard on the right. Oh, yeah, here we go. Here we go, right here. Now, was Ezzard Charles a better fighter than Sugar Ray Robinson? At middleweight, yes. Ezzard would have probably beaten Sugar Ray at middleweight. Now, Sugar Ray took a lot of L's at middleweight, and a great fighter like Ezzard Charles, y'all would have picked Ezzard at middleweight, for sure. Define Arnie 1 is in the building. What's up, Define Arnie 1? How are you today? God bless. Right back to you, my brother. My friend from Puerto Rico, Define Arnie 1. Hope they hurry up and have some more fights down there so Define Arnie 1 can cover some more fights. That's our reporter for the fights happening down there in Puerto Rico, but we had one card. He did a fine job, too. Well, salute Define Arnie 1. Yeah, I would have picked Ezzard Charles to beat Sugar Ray at middleweight. Just because Sugar Ray was a natural welterweight and Ezzard was a natural middleweight. And most experts say Sugar Ray was better pound for pound, but a strong case can be made for Ezzard. Okay? And you can't go wrong picking either one of them. Either one. You can't go wrong. Okay. Now, as you see from the picture on the screen, the two men were close to just about the same size, right? Now, Sugar Ray was about 10 pounds lighter than Ezzard if both were in prime fighting shape. Sugar Ray was about 10 pounds lighter, but looked like Ezzard might be like an inch taller. But yeah, Sugar Ray got that hairdo that, yeah, Ezzard is about an inch taller. If they both were bald-headed, Ezzard would be an inch taller, see? Okay. Yeah, but basically the same size. Now, while most experts call Sugar Ray Robinson the best pound-for-pound fighter ever, reality is that Ezzard Charles should be and often is in the conversation when you're talking about best pound-for-pound. Now, like I said before, almost the same size. Let's look at the picture. Ezzard Charles became the smallest man to ever win the heavyweight title, and he defended it 8 times, okay? A middleweight won the heavyweight title and defended 8 times. And there was a reason he went to heavyweight, and we're gonna cover that. Now, in middleweight, Ezzard Charles was truly incredible. As a middleweight, that was his natural fighting weight. He destroyed the great Charlie Burley twice. Charlie Burley was thought to be the best of the avoided murderers road fighters. Ezzard not only beat him, he destroyed him twice. And Tony Zell was able to avoid Ezzard Charles because he ducked him in late 41 and 1942. He went into the service for the remainder of the war, and his title was frozen while he was gone. So Ezzard couldn't fight for that. Zell didn't defend the title for 4 years after 1942 until 1946, until the war ended. And when he returned from the war, Ezzard, believing he would be still shut out of a title shot at middleweight, moved up to light heavyweight. Right? He gave up. Tony Zell wasn't going to fight him, so he moved to light heavyweight. And then at light heavyweight, he defeated the great Archie Moore, not once, not twice, but 3 times. And the light heavyweight champion at the time was Gus Lesnovich. And Gus just straight up shamelessly refused to give Ezzard a title shot. Just straight up said he wasn't going to fight him, right? So Ezzard, a natural middleweight, couldn't get a shot at middleweight or light heavyweight. That's the reason he went to heavyweight, because he figured he could get a shot at heavyweight, right? Because the welterweight and middleweight champions were white. The heavyweight champion was Joe Louis, who was black. So Ezzard believed he could get a shot at the title for his dream to be a champion at heavyweight. So who was Ezzard Charles anyway? We'll get back to this. Who was Ezzard Charles? Ezra Mack Charles, known as the Cincinnati Cobra, he was born July 7th, 1921 in Lawrenceville, Georgia. Now, his early youth was tumultuous and perhaps a sign of things to come. Now, this guy named William Detloff, he wrote Ezra's autobiography. It was called Ezra Charles, A Boxing Life. And he made the first attempt to explain the Cincinnati Cobra and show where he came from. Ezra Charles came from such a dirt poor family that they were unable to pay for his birth, right? And in return for the doctor's services, the doctor's name was given to the baby. That's how they paid the doctor for delivering Ezra. They gave Ezra the doctor's name, right? It was all his parents had to offer, right? And then his father disappeared when he was 5. But guess when his father came back? 20 years later, when Ezra became a famous boxer, all of a sudden his father gonna reappear. I would have been like, man, you don't have nothing coming. Go back to where you was at. But he gonna show back up when the man became famous as a boxer. Disappeared when he was 5, came back over 20 years later when the man became famous, right? And then, when he was 7 years old, his mother disappeared from his life, right? And Ezra was sent to live with his grandmother and great-grandmother in a falling down house in the poorest part of Cincinnati, Ohio. They had moved to Ohio by that time, born in Georgia, but moved to Ohio at a very young age, right? His father disappeared when he was 5, and his mother disappeared when he was 7. So he went with his grandmother and great-grandmother to live. That's who raised him. That's why he was such a humble and gentleman, because, you know, grandmother, great-grandmother, they had to be strict, especially back around that time. Because I know my grandmother was born like 1900, man. I was scared to move around her, man. Woo. Them people from that period was strict. Now, I wasn't living in my grandmother, damn it. I wasn't born in no 1900s. Okay, but yeah, they were some strict people. But anyway, Detloff, the guy that wrote his autobiography, said, Ezra Charles was a timid and shy youngster, picked on at school by bullies. And the shy, quiet Charles, to survive, became a locally celebrated street fighter. He used to participate in locally celebrated street fights, boxing street fights in backyards from the age of 8, right? And then he started standing up to the local bullies. They used to go in people's backyards and fight, and people from miles around would come watch. And he was known as quiet and decent, a quiet, decent Christian youth. Yet, he was increasingly feared for his incredible fighting ability. Those are the worst ones, those quiet ones, right? Now, Detloff, remember that name. That's who wrote his autobiography. We're going to be mentioning him a lot. Detloff goes on to account how Ezra's life changed forever when in August of 1932, boxer Kid Chocolate came to Cincinnati, where Eddie lived at, to fight Johnny Farr at the Parkway Arena. Now, Kid Chocolate loved to ride around in a Cadillac, flaunting his money and flashy clothes. And the young Ezra Charles took notice. He was dirt poor his entire life. He looked at Kid Chocolate's Cadillac and his flashy clothes, and he told his family that was going to be him someday. He said he was going to become a boxer and have that type of life that Kid Chocolate had. And he did. He actually went on to do that. Now let's look at Ezra's amateur career. Okay. In 1937, at age 16, Ezra Charles began boxing as an amateur. And he won the 1937 Ohio AAU Welterweight Championship. In 1938, he won the state AAU amateur title as a welterweight. Okay? He won that back-to-back years. In 1939, he won the state middleweight championship. And then, in 1939, he went on to win the national amateur middleweight title. And then as a professional, started at middleweight. In 1940, he turned pro And by 1941, Ezra Charles had risen by age 19 to be the #2 contender for the world middleweight title. But Detloff documents how Charles was told bluntly that Tony Zell, the champion, would never give him a title shot. Straight up told him that. And the boxing establishment would back up Zell's choosing to defend it against other people instead of Ezra Charles, who was the #1 contender, right? So Ezra just jumped up to light heavyweight. They told him he wasn't getting a title shot, and the establishment backed him up. The sanctioning bodies that we had then didn't penalize Zell in any kind of way. So Ezra went to light heavyweight, right? But his middleweight record was incredible. Like I said, he beat Charlie Burley of the Murderers Row twice, who Archie Moore said Charlie Burley was the best boxer he ever saw. Ezra Charles beat him twice, destroyed him twice. And he also defeated former world middleweight champion and all-around tough guy, Teddy Yaros. So when Zell wouldn't fight him, he went to light heavyweight, right? So at light heavyweight, let me see what's going on in the chat. Omer, what's up, Omer Epson? He said Ezra was better than Robinson simply because he fought and beat Burley and beat better opposition. Yeah, I agree. I said that before you came in. Yeah, at middleweight, I would pick Ezra Charles over Sugar Ray Robinson. Salute Omer Epson. Yeah, Omer knows his history. Yeah, let's continue with good to see you, Omer. Cast Sports, 2 o'clock every day, Monday through Friday. Hope you stick around and enjoy the show, Omer. But yeah, that is a very true statement. At middleweight, I would pick Ezra Charles to beat Sugar Ray Robinson. He did have a better resume, Ezra did. Now, he went to light heavyweight. He couldn't get a title shot at middleweight, so he went to light heavyweight, right? Now, light heavyweight, he started with a bang. Twice beating future world light heavyweight champion, Joey Maxim. And Maxim would go on to say that Ezra Charles was the best fighter he ever saw, even better than Sugar Ray Robinson. And remember, Joey Maxim fought Sugar Ray Robinson, beat him. It was because of heat exhaustion, but Joey Maxim fought and beat Sugar Ray Robinson. And he said Ezra Charles was better than Sugar Ray, right? Just like Omer just said, right? We had a man that fought Sugar Ray said the same thing. But the #1 ranked Ezra Charles would not get a title shot, right? In 1947 from light heavyweight champion Gus Lesnovich. He did the same thing Tony Zell did at middleweight. Told him he's straight up not fighting it. I don't care if you're the #1. And Ezra was the #1 contender just at light heavyweight, just like he was at middleweight, but they would not give him a title shot. And the money back in those days was in the titles, right? Was in the titles. And Ezra couldn't get a title shot, right? So, and it was not just World War II that had kept Sugar Ray Robinson #1 contender at welterweight from 1941 to 1946 from getting a title shot, or Ezra Charles, the #1 contender at middleweight, from getting a title shot, right? The racism had a lot to do with it. The Sugar Ray had been called the uncrowned world champion at welterweight for 5 years. Same thing for Ezra Charles. First at middleweight, then clearly at light heavyweight. And they could not get a title shot, right? Red Cochran and Tony Zell, the welter and middleweight champions during this period, were both white. And Detloff, this is the guy that wrote his autobiography, remember, he made it clear in Ezra Charles' A Boxing Life that racism was unquestionably at work in denying Ezra Charles his title shot at his natural weight of middleweight, just as it had denied Sugar Ray Robinson before him. That's the reason Ezra went to heavyweight. He couldn't get his dream was to be world heavyweight champion. And he couldn't get a shot at middleweight or light heavyweight, so he said, let me try heavyweight. So he moved to heavyweight in late 1947. And by 1948, he was the #2 contender behind Jersey Joe Walcott, right? Joe Louis was the champion. Jersey Joe Walcott was the number 1 contender, and Ezzard was number 2 contender. Okay? Ezzard was number 2. So, he beat the, wait a minute, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Jersey Joe was number 1, Ezzard was number 2 behind Joe Louis, right? And he admitted he moved to heavyweight because he had a far better shot at getting a title shot, right? Because the champions, again, at welterweight and middleweight and light heavyweight were white, but the champion at heavyweight was a black man, Joe Louis, so he thought he had a better chance of getting a shot there. So Ezzard Charles beat the number 1 contender, Jersey Joe Walcott, by a 15-round. Okay, so Joe Louis had, Joe Louis retired. Ezzard Charles, number 2 contender, beat Jersey Joe Walcott, the number 1 contender. They did it right by then. They didn't just, when the champion retired or vacated, they didn't just award somebody the title. Number 1 fought number 2 for the championship. And Ezzard and Jersey Joe fought in 1949, and Ezzard won by a 15-round unanimous decision on June 22nd to win the vacant World Heavyweight Championship, left vacant by Joe Louis's retirement, his first retirement, because Joe did come back. Okay. But yeah, number 1 fought number 2, and Ezzard won it. On September 27th, 1950, after Joe Louis came back, Ezzard beat Joe Louis by a 15-round unanimous decision, right? And any doubt he was champion was removed because many people did not recognize Ezzard as champion until he beat Joe Louis, right? But once he did that, any doubt that Ezzard Charles was a heavyweight champion was gone. And he made 8 successful title defenses before losing the title to Jersey Joe by a 7th-round knockout on June 18th, 1951 in their second fight. Now, Ezzard tried to regain the World Heavyweight Championship 3 times. He lost in the rematch to Jersey Joe in 1952, and he lost twice to the great Rocky Marciano, both times in 1954. So why is Ezzard Charles not remembered or ranked highly? Because what we've been reading, this man was great. Why is he not remembered or ranked higher? Now, the last 4 years of Ezzard Charles' fighting career are what too many people use to downgrade him. Those 4 years, he was ill with ALS, and he fought 24 times and won only 10. But those people ignore his peak record because it refutes their fanboy claims. Okay, they only look at those last 4 years. He was sick with ALS at that time too. They don't look at what he did all before than what we just been talking about, right? Never let the facts get in front of your story, right? That's how they do Ezzard Charles. Now, before he lost the title to Jersey Joe in 1949, he went 73 wins, 5 losses, 1 draw. And one of those losses was a controversial split decision that most thought he won against Alma Ray. So it was effectively 74 wins, 4 losses, and 1 draw. Further, Ezzard avenged every single one of those losses with 79 pro fights. He had beaten every man he faced at least once. Even the ones that had beat him, he had beaten them in the rematches. Or like Jersey Joe, he lost the rematch, but he had beat Jersey Joe in the first fight. So everybody that beat him, he came back and beat them. Okay? Ezzard Charles is one of those guys that did that. Now, he was a generationally great fighter. Just look at the guys he beat. Okay? He was 3-0 against Hall of Famer Archie Moore. He was 2-0 against the great Murderers Row fighter Charlie Burley, who Archie Moore said was the greatest fighter he ever faced. He was 3-0 against Joey Maxim, light heavyweight champion, who said Ezzard was better than Sugar Ray Robinson, who Joey Maxim fought. He was 4-1 against all-time heavyweight, the great Jimmy Bivens, right? He knocked out the great Lloyd Marshall twice, another Murderers Row fighter. Ezzard was one of the few people that would fight him. Of the 8, well, I think he fought at least 6 of the Murderers Row fighters, right? And then there's the death of Sam Barada. He died after a fight with Ezzard. Now, this is important because after the death, Ezzard never went after an opponent with the same killer instinct that he had before after that guy died after fighting him. He never came out with the same intensity and same killer instinct ever after that. So when analyzing a fighter, you must look at him at his peak and in his prime. You don't just look at the last few years when he's sick with ALS, man. Come on. And prime Ezzard Charles was an all-time great fighter with an all-time great record. And he set some incredible records. He was the first true middleweight to win the undisputed heavyweight title, okay? Smallest, lightest man to win the undisputed heavyweight title, even smaller and lighter than Rocky Marciano. He was the only man to ever go 15 rounds with the great Rocky Marciano. He was the Ring Magazine Fighter of the Year for 1949 and 1950. No, it's not no 316. Wow. He was inducted into the Ring Boxing Hall of Fame in 1970. He was inducted into the World Boxing Hall of Fame in 1983. And he was inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame in 1990. Now, I got a lot, so what we're going to do tomorrow is boxing in the States. And Wisconsin is not a long one, so we're going to finish this after Wisconsin tomorrow, too. Okay? And he was inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame in the Old Timers category in 1990. Okay? And he was named the greatest light heavyweight of all time by the Ring Magazine in 1994 and 2002. And he was named the 11th greatest heavyweight of all time by Ring Magazine in 1998. And the 13th best fighter of the last 80 years by Ring Magazine in 2002. And he defeated incredible competition, perhaps the best ever. Listen to this. Joe Louis, Teddy Yaros, Anton Christoforidis, Gus Lesnovich, Charlie Burley twice, Lord Marshall twice, 2 murderous road fighters, Oakland Billy Smith twice, Jersey Joe Walcott twice, Archie Moore 3 times, the great Jimmy Bivens 4 times, and Joey Maxim 5 times, future heavyweight champion. Ezzard Charles should be remembered more and should be ranked higher than he is. Ezzard Charles was one of the greatest fighters who ever lived. Certainly, virtually all human experts rate him the best light heavyweight who ever lived. And he was never champion at light heavyweight, still rated by many experts as the best light heavyweight. Now, BoxRec's computer would rank him higher if the post-1955 fights were subtracted. That's when he was sick with ALS. Take that off, BoxRec would have him higher too. Ezzard Charles was a marvelous pugilist who wreaked havoc in the ring, but beyond the ropes remained humble, honorable, hardworking, and all the other things you wanted your kid to be when you sent him off into the world. That's what the guy that wrote his autobiography said about it. It is worth noting, now I was telling you this earlier, Sugar Ray Robinson and Joe Louis and Ezzard Charles both participated in World War II. Now, let me read this first. Sugar Ray and Joe Louis did exhibitions. Ezzard Charles was offered the same type of opportunity, but Ezzard Charles said, no, I want to be treated like a regular guy, no special privileges. And he went and fought on the front lines, okay? Ezzard was in a truck unit in the front lines in North Africa. Didn't want any special privileges. Nope. Could have just did exhibitions with Joe Louis and Sugar Ray Robinson did. Now, Omer says, Brother Ezzard didn't lose the first fight with Rocky, even with ALS. The evidence is Walcott outboxed Rocky and Ezzard outboxed Walcott. Okay, Omer, yeah, appreciate you. Yeah, Omer is a historian too. You can tell. Okay, appreciate you, Omer. Yeah. Now, Charles had considered not going back to boxing when he got out of the Army, but his Army buddies roaring his name when Joe Louis called for someone, because Joe Louis came to the base where Ezzard was at the boxer exhibition. And Joe Louis was trying to get somebody to spar him, and they made Ezzard go up there. His buddies did, right? And Ezzard didn't do bad, right? Held his own with the heavyweight champion of the world, and he was a middleweight at that time. Okay, so And that was Joe Louis was surprised by that. Who is this guy, right? And he was convinced at the end of the war, he should go back and pursue his dream of being a heavyweight champion, being a boxing champion. And there you have it, the great Ezzard Charles. Yeah, great fighter. Yeah, Omer knows. Yeah, Ezzard is very, very, very underrated. Very, very, very underrated. Okay, so now we got a little more. We're going to talk about another great boxer from the 40s. And then he had a great trilogy with, let's do this first because we're getting short on time. Because this Rocky Graziano is long, and his trilogy with Tony Zale. Yeah, I was going to talk about Rocky and then go into the trilogy with Tony Zale. That was one of the greatest trilogies of all time. Up there with Ali Frazier, Mickey Ward, Gaddy, Morales, Barrera. Yeah, this was a great trilogy. But let's talk about this fight between, because like I told you, Ike Williams, Bob Montgomery, Bojack, not Bo Mack, Bojack, had a great series of fights in the 40s. And, you know, I think I'd have seen all of them. Great fights. But, you know, you like old fights, watch them. I'm sure Omer done seen some of them. But we're going to talk about the first one between Ike Williams and Bob Montgomery, not Bob Montgomery, Bojack. Ike Williams and Bojack. The first fight between those two legends. Okay? Because we're getting short on time. And because like I said, tomorrow when we do boxing in the States, you know, we only got 2 states left. You know, we went through the entire alphabet, but we got Wisconsin and Wyoming left. So Wisconsin is short one. We're going to finish Rocky Graziano and the Rocky Graziano Tony Zale trilogy tomorrow. So right now, let's do this fight between Bojack and Ike Williams. Okay, they had a great series of fights along with Bob Montgomery back in the lightweight division around the 40s, around that time. I don't think they went over into the 50s, but maybe they did. I don't know. I'm just your local friendly neighborhood box store, and that's all. But how's everybody this afternoon? We got Richardson Hitchens and George Kambosos and Andy Cruz on the card, right? This weekend. Yeah, this weekend. Coming up. So I guess the final presser is tomorrow, right? And then we will have the after last weekend, wow. I don't think nothing like that gonna happen in the press conferences and stuff, man. Yeah. We got people saying that Albright had the face was like that before he left the ring. I don't think it was, man. I don't think so. Anybody see that stuff on his face before he left the ring? I didn't see Calvin land any kind of shots that could do that kind of damage during the fight. So I don't know, man. I went back and lied. I didn't see it, but I don't know. You know, you fanboying that bad, man. You just making up shit. You know, that's bad. And this from people that I thought was high IQ knowledgeable boxing fans saying this nonsense, man. So damn. I mean, you like Keyshawn that much, you're not eligible to even, you can't objectively talk about him, you know, just leave it alone. I mean, you can't admit wrong. The man was wrong. You know, people saying that they didn't jump him. But if you and your brother walk up on me like that, I'm going to swing first too. They say Albright swung first. You and your brother come in my area, in my space, get in my face, I'm going to swing first too. You know? You're damn right. I'm going to try to knock your brains out of your head. So, no matter who swung first, they had no business over there. But let's move on. Like I said, you can take people out of the ghetto, but you can't take the ghetto out of some people. That sums it all up, you know. You can be a millionaire, you just be a ghetto millionaire, that's all. Okay, that's what Keyshawn is, a ghetto millionaire, if he's a millionaire. That's it, that's all. Sorry. Man, I'm running my mouth like damn thing that come up. This is good too. It is right there, Cass. Gee, me Christmas. Bear with me for a moment, please. I'm having a hard time. A hard time. It's them Keyshawn people wishing that on me. And they say keep Keyshawn's name out of your mouth. Keyshawn put his name in everybody's mouth. What? What we supposed to talk about? Man made all them ghetto moves, but what you know? I mean, were we supposed to just ignore them? No, man. I'm not. I can't get this to come up, man. Oh, there it is. Okay, let's talk about this. The first Ike Williams Bojack war, and it was a war, right? And the most criminally late stoppage in boxing history. Okay. Let me check the okay. It's Sugar and Ezzard. Yeah. What's up, V Hammer in the building? Good to see you, V Hammer. Yeah, we was just talking a little boxing history. We was talking about some boxers in the 1940s, not named Joe Louis and Sugar Ray, and I put that picture up there because I wanted to see the size. How Sugar Ray and Ezzard was just about the same size. But we're gonna talk about the first fight between Ike Williams and Bojack. There they go right there. That's Ike Williams on the right. No. Yeah. That Ike Williams on the right and Bojack on the left. Okay, let's talk about this fight because it was very interesting. But salute, V Hammer. Good to see you today. Good to see you. Okay, let's get through this so we can get some link time. Now, rewind to July 12th of 1948 and fight fans witnessed two all-time greats going at it for the world lightweight title. These same fans also saw the first fight in a brutal series. While at the same time, this was like 75 years ago, the world of boxing perhaps saw the most criminal, the most sickeningly late stoppage call ever performed by a referee. Yeah, 1948, 77 years ago, right? Yeah, 1948, 2018, 70, 25, 7. We're the one carried the 2, divide by 10. Yeah, 77 years. Right. Okay, now, Ike Williams was 25 years old, and his record was 94-10, 4 losses, 35 knockouts. He was the reigning lightweight champion at the time. He's from Brunswick, Georgia. He had beaten such great fighters like Sammy Angut, Johnny Bratton, Tippy Larkin, Bob Montgomery, and Kid Gavilan, the great Kid Gavilan. Now, Ike was known for his great right hand, and he was a proven fighter in every sense of the word. He had been champion since April of 1945, about 2 years, and he was making his 5th title defense. And on the night of July 12, 1948, Ike was a significant favorite over former 2-time lightweight champion Bojack. Now, the Shire Park Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania was around half full because the people were convinced that Bojack was going to be no real match for Williams. They thought it was going to be an easy, dominant fight for Ike Williams. Now, Bojack was hailing from Waynesboro, Georgia. He was only 27 years old, but he was only 2 years older than Ike Williams. But Bojack at that time was an old 27. He had wars with people like Freddie Archer, Fritzie Zivik, Henry Armstrong, Bob Montgomery, Sammy Angut, and Tony Gennaro. That had taken a toll on Bojack. And he had been beaten by some common opponents whom Ike Williams had defeated. So everybody thought it was going to be an easy fight for Ike. And Bojack had been the world lightweight champion from December 1942 to May 1943. He was a two-time champion, and again from November 43 to March 44. And he hadn't fought at 135 in a few years. That was another reason. People thought, because he was coming down in weight, and people thought that was going to affect him because he hadn't been at at lightweight for a couple of years. So that's another reason people counted him out. Now, an intensely hard-earned and worked for. He was 73 wins, 13 losses, 4 draws, and all of his wins were hard-earned, right? Because he'd been in some wars, right? And Bojack had been stopped just one time by Gennaro, and he suffered a gruesome knee injury that forced a TKO against him. He later stated that the hole in his knee was big enough for him to put his fist in it, right? And by the time of this fight against Ike Williams, he was known to be past his best, although he was only 2 years older than Ike Williams at 27. Like I said, he was an old 27. But against the sharp, deadly Ike Williams, he turned back the clock a little, and he managed to make a fight of it. Well, at least for a while. Now, Bojack, a veritable hurricane in his prime, where he would regularly sling out a hellish amount of leather. His aggressive swinging style, something fans had loved him for. He had some success in the early rounds, jabbing Williams and forcing Williams on the back foot. And Bojack was also getting in close and doing some damage with his hooks and uppercuts. But Williams was falling back, and he made zero mistakes, right? And the action was fierce. Today, if we would see a fight like that, fans would be in a frenzy nowadays, the way they was going at it. Now, Bojack hurt Ike Williams in the second round, and the war continued in the fourth round, but continued into the third round. But by the fourth round, Bojack, as expected, began to fade, getting tired. And Ike Williams was now catching Bojack as he came in. And Ike Williams' shots was still hard, full of venom, while Bojack's punches were starting to lose their sting, okay? But Bojack never gave up, his enormous heart making such a thing impossible. But he was taking a world of hurt, right? His corner should have saved him from himself, or the referee should have been stopped it. Now, Bojack was stunned badly at the end of the fifth round. He was left sagging as he made it to his corner. Now, round 6 was the round the stoppage came in, but it was real late by referee Charlie Daggett. This round was simply terrifying for the fans. Bojack was exhausted and done when the round started. He was an easy target for Ike Williams. And Williams was as ruthless as all fighters had to be back in the day. Took advantage of it. Ike was firing off crisp, zinging shots with both hands. He was landing at will and Bojack was virtually defenseless. Williams was landing at will on him. Either his corner should have saved him from because Williams wasn't going to give up. His corner should have saved him, or the referee should have stopped it by now. And Bojack's corner. Ike Williams' vicious salvo was capped off by 2 nasty left hands to the head. And the shot sent Bojack reeling into the ropes. And he got stuck there, upright. God only knows how he was able to take more, much more. Okay? Ike Williams went in for the kill. He let loose with a torrent of blows. All of them landed. Bojack's head was being violently slammed all over the place. And the referee still didn't stop it. Bojack staggered back into a corner, and Ike followed him in and continued working. His punches blasting into a finished fighter who was now held up by only the ropes. With both of his arms hanging down, tires uselessly, Bojack took one of the worst beatings ever captured on film. Ike Williams even stopped punching, turned to the referee and begged for him to come stop the fight. Incredibly, disturbingly, the referee signaled Williams to keep fighting. Go back to fighting. And by that time, Bojack was almost comatose And Ike Williams turned and asked the referee to stop the fight, and the referee told him to go back to fighting, man. Wow. So, finally, after what had now been at least 30 unanswered punches, the referee stepped in and stopped the fight. In all honesty, nowadays, I lost my place. Damn, Cass. Yeah, the referee finally stepped in after 30 unanswered punches, right? Now, in all honesty, nowadays, this referee would have been hauled before a court of law if he pulled a performance like that nowadays. Anything close to as disgraceful as that. That would be manslaughter. But back in 1948, even some of the seen it all hardest fight fans from back then was left feeling sick and shaking their head at this referee's performance. Inability or refusal to stop the fight, clearly when he should have done so. Now, I done seen this. This fight is on YouTube. Anybody want to look at it? If you got the stomach, because this was bad. It's on YouTube. Ike Williams, Bojack 1. July 12th, 1948. Check it out, man. This was terrible. Now, Bojack, quite astonishingly, fought after this fight. He had 3 more fights with Ike Williams after this, right? He fought for another 7 years. And he fought Williams 3 more times. And amazingly, he fought to a draw with Williams in the 3rd fight. Ike Williams beat him 3 times, 1 draw. Bojack fought 7 more years. But after that 4th fight, he was stopped by Williams. The 4th fight, he retired. Ring earnings all gone. He ended up shining shoes as he had done before he started fighting. Ike Williams also retired after that 4th fight, right? And Ike Williams finished with a record of 128 wins, 24 losses, 4 draws, 61 knockouts. Ike died in September 1994 at 71 years of age. Bojack finished his career 91 wins, 24 losses, 5 draws, 44 knockouts. And Bojack died in February 2000, age 78. Yeah, but check this fight out. It's on YouTube. I've seen it a number of times. July 12th, 1948. Bojack. Just put in Bojack. Ike Williams, Bojack 1. Bojack was the A side. Ike Williams, Bojack 1. Yeah. But the Week of Heart, don't watch it. Because it was bad, man. We got Tony Zale left, Rocky Graciano and the Tony Zale trilogy. We're going to cover that tomorrow after the Wisconsin boxing in the States because it's kind of short. So let's get some link time in here, okay? Before we go, okay. Always like to get the people up here, every day. Come on, man. How's everybody? It's hump day. On the way down to the weekend and the fights. Richards and Hitchens, George Kambosos. Like I said, Richards and Hitchens ain't knocking nothing out. He got knockouts before though, so hey, it's boxing. So we don't know, but I don't think so. I got him by a wide unanimous decision. Kambosos, I would say B-level. He gonna be in there competing, so hey. Richards and Hitchens got to be careful. He got to stay on his P's and his Q's, But he should pull it out, I think. And we got Andy Cruz on the card. Lightweight is heating up. They say Muratalla has been elevated to champion. Yeah, he was waiting in the wings for Loma to get the hell out the way, which he finally did. I don't know why Loma wasn't stripped, man. All that time he didn't fight holding on to a title. Come on, man. Shit, or get your ass off the pot. You know what I'm saying? Shit, or get off the pot, man. right? But yeah, Loma finally got out the way. So yeah, we're gonna get Murray Tyler. I don't know who he's gonna be, who his first opponent is gonna be in his first title shot. But he wasn't. You can't call him email champion because he fought. What was the guy's name? He did fight that guy for that belt. You know. In the title eliminator. Remember the guy? Russian guy. Remember that? So yeah, he did earn it. That should have been the title fight there because Loma should have been out the way. So yeah, I would say he did earn it. You know? What was the guy's name? It was the Russian guy. I can't pronounce it no way, so yeah. Okay, let's get this link in there so we can get to chopping it up. Everybody's welcome to hit the link. Everybody's encouraged to hit the link. Okay. There it is. Yeah, that's him, Define Arnie one. Abdulayev. So Murray Tyler really did fight for that belt because that was the champion. It wasn't the official title fight, but hey, they fought for the interim. And, when he got elevated, he earned it. I would say he earned it, But hey, Loma is officially retired. He had a good career. He's retired now. Let me get this out the way. I'm still running my mouth and got the link screen up here. Move. That's Define Arnie 1, the great Define Arnie 1. What's happening, Define Arnie 1? Did I get you in? No, that's Define Arnie 1. What's happening? You get up?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I appreciate it. How you doing, bro?
Good. Okay. How about you today?
Awesome. I'm good, bro. Great topic, bro, by the way.
I appreciate it.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
So,
I didn't get the trilogy between Rocky Graciano and Tony Zell, so I'm going to talk about that tomorrow. They had a great trilogy. You familiar with that one? Around the 40s. One of the best trilogies of all time. Yeah, they
I would agree with that, definitely.
Yeah.
To me, Rocky, man, I don't know. It's a hard thing to say. I might change my mind on this, but I think Rocky's toughest fight was Roland Lastarza 1.
Graciano?
No, Roland Lastarza 1.
Oh, okay.
A lot of people thought he lost that one.
Yeah, to Starza?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lastarza was the next big thing as far as Italian America.
You talking about Marciano right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a good fight. A lot of people say that was the closest he ever came to losing.
Yeah.
A lot of people say that. Yeah, that fight right there was the
hard to say because Rocky Marciano, honestly, Rocky Marciano, I look at him kind of like a Monzon in the sense that his opponents were mostly like much better in skills than him.
Yeah.
So he still pulled it off,
Yeah, he had that equalizer,
Exactly.
He could change the
Susie
fight
Q.
in a second.
He had that Susie Q.
And he just kept going, man. It didn't matter what the cards read. He didn't even care about no cards. He just kept going.
Exactly.
Every punch was full speed. Hard as he could throw it, Rocky. He was trying to get you up out of there every time, man. But
I didn't like the Joe Louis fight. The Joe Louis fight was a tragedy, in my opinion. That should have never happened.
They was all back in the locker room, and they say Rocky and Sugar Ray Robinson was damn near in tears. And Joe Louis looked at them and said, "What y'all crying for? I'm the one that got beat."
Rocky
didn't want to fight him. He fought him because Joe Louis was having those tax problems, and Joe would make a lot of money against him. So that's the only reason Rocky fought him. Other than that, he wouldn't even fought Joe Louis.
Yeah, he would have never
make
fought
another bag. Yeah.
He actually apologized to him afterwards.
It was all in the locker room looking all sad, and Joe Louis, Sugar Ray Robinson, Rocky, all them, and Joe Louis asked them why they looking sad. I got beat up, not y'all. I should be looking sad. But yeah, it was yeah, that Roland Lastarza fight was his closest to losing that title, though. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Yeah. Yeah,
I agree, Alboga. I agree 100%. He had a little bit of subtlety, but not too much.
His defense underrated too. His defense.
I would say that it's just that he had he got dropped almost every time. You just couldn't keep him down, bro. He had that heart of a lion. You know?
Yeah. He just had that will, man. You know, to win. Absolutely. At all costs. You know, he went down to Jersey Joe in the first round of that fight. That when he first won the title, remember?
Yes.
And Jersey Joe was dominating. But Rocky just said, if I get Suzy Q in there, all it takes is one. All it takes is one.
Like you look at Monzon, for example, and you take a look at Jose Mantequilla Nápoles or Emil Griffith or Nino Benvenuti. They're more skilled than him, but Monzon would look like he was made out of stone, man.
I know. Yeah. King Carlos. Yeah, he was tough. He was a tough guy. He was tough outside the ring too. He was just a tough guy, man. You know. Yes.
I don't feel too bad for him because honestly, bro, Monzon was he wasn't there. So, trust me when I tell you, there's a million bad stories about it.
Yeah, he used to beat his women up and stuff.
Exactly.
He threw one of them off a second floor balcony. Then they say he jumped off after to try to act like they both fell off, but he got convicted of it. And you know, when he died, he was on a weekend furlough. How do you murder and get a weekend furlough?
He was tied with the government. He got away with so many just because he was tied with the government. You know, kind of like Edwin Valero. As much as I love him, bro, he would fly off the handle, and it wasn't until it got too. It wasn't until it got so undeniable, you know, that they had to do something. You know.
Edwin was Venezuelan, right?
Yes.
Or was it Argentina? Yes. Venezuela.
No, Venezuela. Yeah.
Monzon was Argentina.
Yes.
Yeah. And he was on his way back to prison from the furlough and had the accident and died. Yeah. And Omer says Lastarza was robbed. Check the BoxRec result. It's a draw. That's what Define already said. He was robbed in favor of Roland. Yep. And a lot of people say that's the closest fight he came to losing that title. Which one was that wasn't his first title defense, was it Define on? I know it was early in his reign though, wasn't it? Because he fought him twice, right? Lastarza.
Yes, yeah. That second one, he actually the thing is, Lastarza, as far as I remember, right? Lastarza was the next big thing because they were kind of like in sort of, they thought it was like passing the torch, you know? Fight, so to speak.
Yeah.
So, but in that second fight, bro, like Lastarza got so beat up, bro, he was never the same.
I know. Yeah.
And,
the second one was different from the first one. Totally.
Oh, to say the least. And I mean that's my thing with Marciano. Like if you stop somebody that has the goods or is perceived to have the goods from being great, that to me holds a lot of weight, bro. Yeah,
it does. Yeah, that's a true statement.
We know about Esther Charles, we know about Jersey Joe Walcott, we know about Joe Louis, you know, you name it, but not too many people know about Roland Lastarza, bro.
No, not too many at all.
And that's because of Marciano.
Not nowadays. Most people that wasn't in that era don't even know who he is. You know, Roland Lastarza. You could ask 9 people nowadays. Maybe one have heard of him, if that many. And I'm talking about boxing fans. You know.
Yeah, it's a generational thing. You know, people unfortunately. I mean, back in, I don't know, 30, 40 years ago, you might find a lot of people talking about Bill Russell and Will Chamberlain.
In that time frame.
Yeah, but you're not going to find too many people today. It's
not now.
Thing, you know?
No way. Yeah.
But, you know, it's weird because I'm looking for Hitchens and Cambosos in the zone, and it doesn't seem like they're going to show. Like,
is that on the zone, right?
I don't think so.
No, I think it's Top Rank.
Oh, okay. So that's ESPN.
Sure. I know Cambosos is Top Rank, right?
I'm not sure.
No. I gotta check. I'm not sure about that. Who does Matias fight for? Is it Eddie Hearn?
Oh, promoter? I don't know because Eddie
No.
Hearn did him wrong.
Okay.
I'm not sure. But he's fighting on the Berlanga undercard. He's fighting Alberto Puello.
When is that fight?
Hang on a second. That's July what?
Yeah. We got some good fights coming up.
July 12. That's it.
Yeah, like back to back weeks coming up. We got a good stretch coming up now.
I mean, July's gonna be fire, bro. Because you got on the 12th, you got the Berlanga, Shiraz, Stevenson, Cepeda, you got David Morrell, and then a week after that, you got Usyk Dubois too, and Bam Rodriguez and against Cafu.
Wow.
Both on the same day, bro. Can you believe that?
Bam and who? What day is it?
Fumalele Cafu, that's another champion over at.
What other fighters on it? What other big card is that day?
You got Usyk Dubois too, and on the 19th of July, and on that same day, but on a different because Usyk Dubois too is Queensberry, Frank Warren, and Bam Rodriguez and Cafu, it's Matchroom.
That's on the same day.
Same day, yeah, but different times because Usyk Dubois is over in the UK, and that's right.
Wow.
We can catch both of them.
I want to see a Bam, Monster, or Nakatani fight. They right there all pushed them together. I want to see one of those fights. Bam, Nakatani, Monsters, one of them.
Oh yeah,
they're all right there together. But Monster said MJ in August, right? I think after his last fight, he mentioned that. But Nakatani looked good. Last weekend, yeah.
I like what Omer is saying. Let me answer him because I'm not gonna type all this thing. Let me just answer him. He's saying yes, but Ted Lowe too. Basically, Rocky is an undefeated. We have to agree he got gifts. Yeah, I agree with that. But the thing is that every undefeated fighter has at least one controversy. Let me just, off the top of my head, Ricardo Lopez has the Rosendo Alvarez fight, and I've heard many Mexican media members saying that he lost that fight. And that was a draw. And Floyd Castillo won, and Andre Kovalev won, and Joe Calzaghe versus Miguel Castro and Robin Reed. Like
everybody got one.
Yeah, like let's not zone in on Rocky Marciano as if he's the one guy that got gifted. A lot of legends, all of the legends have gotten gifted, bro. You do not look at it. So, but that doesn't make what you say wrong either. Like I can agree with what you're saying, Omar F.
And the Rosendo Alvarez and Ricardo Lopez in the second fight, it was a split decision. Alvarez got the nod on one judge's card, so
right.
He kind of had Lopez's number if anybody did,
Yeah, Lopez will tell you that himself. That's by far his toughest fight.
Yeah, both of them.
Nicaragua.
Both of them.
That's the second best fighter from Nicaragua. Well, maybe Chocolatito. The number one is without a doubt Alexis Arguello.
Ain't no question about that. But, that's not even arguable.
Exactly.
You
can juggle the second between Rosendo Alvarez and Chocolatito. Don't even think about mentioning Mayorga.
Chocolatito is more well known than. That's why a lot of people pick Chocolatito because he's more well known.
Yes.
Than Alvarez. Yeah, but Alvarez is up there though. He's up there. Thomas Hill.
Hey, what's good, man? Let me turn this air off. I know it's probably making all
the air pumping out there in Cali.
Yeah, man, it's hot.
Yeah, it is, man.
What you doing, T Hill?
What up with you, Define, man? I tried to get on earlier, but I was in a bad area, man. It sucked up that the signal wasn't transmitting. So, brother. Yeah.
We was just talking a little boxing. That's all. You know how we do.
Yeah, I know how you do. You the box historian, dog. That's what happens when you do what you do.
What y'all got on hitches and Cambosos this weekend?
Well, I think that it should be a Hitchinson wash. I've never been a big fan. You said what?
He ain't knocking nothing out though.
Nah, but if he does knock him out, or if it will stop, I think it ends in stoppage. If it's anything like that, it won't be a knockout. Nah. I don't fully expect him. So there's only one person that actually stopped him. So it ain't like he tough.
If
He ain't very skilled. He tough.
He's tough. Yeah. He's tough.
But I'm not a big fan of Kambosos. I believe that's why I call him Scambosos, because I believe he's the biggest scam in boxing the world ever had, man. And unfortunately, I think the thing that allowed him success was the fact that Tio was having trouble in the house at home with his wife. That was the only reason why my man won that fight. Now I know Tio to make it, and this is how Tio be lying a lot. Instead of just saying, "Yo, I was going through some stuff." Outside of the ring, he tried to blame it on like I shouldn't have been fighting. I was not even healthy. I shouldn't have been in the ring. Just to make it look like it was more heroic, like Jordan with the flu game. Like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's one of those type vibes, bro. I read people well, so I already know what the fudge that really was. But hell, I'm not gonna rain on nobody parade. But the real reason was that he was having troubles with the missus, man, and that had his ass.
See, left him after that, right? Didn't they get separated or something?
Yeah, well, yeah, something. It was a little bit something more than just separation, but
right.
Yeah, it was that.
Yeah, he was going through some personal. You got to be right in that boxing ring, man.
Now you got to. You got somebody that's trying to take your block off. But what I will say about, go ahead.
Go ahead, Tio.
No, go ahead and say what you were going to say.
I'm just saying, being unfocused can be dangerous in there,
Oh, absolutely. Well, where you was working. You got to be focused. If you're not focused, man, one day, one mistake can be your last mistake.
That's right.
I'll say this. To me, Tio, and I've seen this fight at least 4 times because I love Sandor Martin. I think Tio lost to Sandor Martin, and I'm pretty convinced about that. So,
man, everybody's convinced about that.
Yeah.
Everybody knows he lost that damn fight. There's not one person that knows he thinks he won that fight, bro. He know he lost that fight. His damn self. That's why he was over there talking to his people. I still got it.
Right. That was the one.
Exactly. And he got dropped.
I would like to saw that one again. Yeah.
It's a great fight to watch, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is.
I got Hitchens also. Kambosos is just basically agree with everything he'll say about, he's tough as hell, but just too limited. He can't mess with boxers, bro. That's evident.
He's a good test. Yeah, he's a good test.
He needs somebody to engage with him in order for him to be successful.
He'll give you some rounds too, because he's tough. He ain't just gonna go in there and knock him out any kind of way.
He's gonna try. It's just that he doesn't have what it takes.
Yeah. T.O. Davis Campbell, like T.O. said.
Hitchens is too polished for him, in my opinion.
What about the Andy Cruz fight? He's a co-main, right?
I don't know who the opponent is. I think he's a Japanese fighter, but I'm not sure.
You got anything on the guy fighting Andy Cruz, T. Hill?
You said who?
The guy fighting Andy Cruz.
He's a tough fighter. He's he's somebody he should beat.
Yeah, I don't know nothing about him. Yeah,
me neither.
Yeah, I figured he'd come out of it with the win. Yeah,
and lightweight is definitely heating up. I heard what you
man.
said about that cast. You're absolutely right.
Let me ask y'all this. Now they say if Andy win here being in line for a belt, who against who? Who do y'all think?
Muratalla.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
I'm not big on Muratalla personally. I think he was shaky, especially in the second half of the fight against Saud Abdullayev. He was very shaky. So I think he's one of those that are like 1 gear, 2nd gear type of fighters, where the first half of the kind of like a Caleb Plant type. That's my vibe on Muratalla.
Yeah. I think if we don't get you out of there in that first half, then he might have problems against the top level.
For sure.
Yeah.
And Andy Cruz is probably the best boxer in the division outside of Shakur.
I would agree with that. Pure boxer, yeah. And he showed a little bit of engagement in that last fight too.
Especially now that Loma retired. Yeah, the fight against Salcido, he did show.
Fixing it up, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know if he want to go in there with Muratalla like that. No. No.
I don't know. He's got some skills, Muratalla. I don't want to make it seem like I'm picking on him or whatever, but I just don't think he's that good, in my opinion.
Yeah. That would be a good one, though. That would be a good one. Cruz and Muratalla, yeah. That's the kind of fights we want, But you're right, 35 is heating up. Yeah. Hey, T.L., I was wondering, who was it that we was trying to figure out what, it's Hitchens. What network is Hitchens fight on?
You said what channel?
Yeah. Hitchens.
What network? Hitchens is off of that, the DAZN network.
Okay. Yeah.
But I can't see it, T-Hill. I can't see it under the DAZN lineup. I got it right in front of me.
Oh, no? Then it might be one of the Turkey casts.
Okay.
Who does Turkey, who does he? I thought he usually goes with DAZN.
Yeah,
I thought so, too. Yeah, everything he done been on DAZN. Turkey.
It's not pay-per-view, is it?
It's weird because back in the Fabio Rosa card that I saw, it was listed, and then it got taken off. So that definitely seems a little fishy.
Yeah, it definitely seems fishy.
Yeah.
I mean, be that
I
as it may.
apologize about this noise. I'm picking up my cousin. I don't even know where the hell to go.
You backing up or something?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay. That's what I was thinking.
My man, I'm gonna go on mute.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna fall off in a minute anyway, because it's almost time for Just Do Boxing.
Just Do, giving everybody their just due. I tune in sometimes, not as much as I would like to. It's just that I'm busy almost every time.
That's the time where I get busy too, right after the show, right around 4. I got to go out and do some things and stuff like that. But I be listening, but I can't really chat,
Yeah.
Well, shoot. Well, if that's the case, I'm gonna go on and say, bid my dues, the farewells, and all that other good stuff.
Yeah, appreciate you be fine on it. That's all I got.
Appreciate you guys also. God bless. See you next time.
Yes, sir. Take care.
Appreciate what you do, Cass.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you too.
Yeah, for sure.
All I got. Oh, damn, T-Hill just left me. Okay, that's all we got for today then. Thomas Hill, the closer, was kind of busy, seemed like. But let me see. Who do we have in here today? What's today, the 11th? Yeah. V. Hammer. We had Omer Epson. Put some beautiful stuff in the chat. Yeah. You can tell a historian when you see one. Appreciate you, Omer. Hope to see you again. Appreciate the engagement. 1,000%. Define Arnie 1. Mike Mazik. Cam J Network. Cam J Network will be on at 6:30 this evening, everybody. If you're not subscribed, get over there, subscribe to him, and check him out at 6:30 this evening. Okay. Cam J Network. Okay. Fire channel. Al Booker. Thomas Hill. BBO Sports TV. 8 p.m. BBO. Always starting stuff. He'll be on at 8 p.m. Mike Rim and Miss Cass. All right. Appreciate everybody 1,000%. Tomorrow, we got 2 weeks left in the boxing in the States. We got Wisconsin and Wyoming. I can't think of number X, Y, or Z. Right? So we got Wisconsin and Wyoming, and that'll be it. We got to think of something else to do now. Boxing around the world? I don't know. We'll figure out something. But I appreciate everybody 1,000%. Just Do Boxing is up next. with that unbiased boxing talk. Okay? This is Cash Sports. Everybody have a great afternoon. If it's Monday through the hands of stone.